Hello, everybody. How was your? I tried to do your impersonation. I didn't. I
Hello,
probably I was
everybody.
correct. Hello, more energy.
Yeah,
Anyway, hi everyone, and welcome back to Code with Italians Sunday session. Today, we were thinking, okay, after what we did with Mark on Wednesday, we want to wrap up the onboarding. We realized that we already have a lot of stuff in place when it comes to storage.
turns out we're
So
getting old and we don't remember shit.
yeah, I mean that's the beauty of the beauty of probably old age, that you coded the stuff but you don't remember, and then you're like, okay, today we're gonna do this, and then you find out that well, the stuff is already there, and you're like, okay, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Because we can celebrate that it's already there, but it's also concerning that we don't remember doing it. So it's a kind of yeah.
I think we did it a week
But
ago now that I think of it, but I'm not that sure.
I I really can't remember,
Maybe.
but we noticed a few glitches, a few bugs in the. Oh, this is so nice. I love
Yeah, they don't
the
see it yet.
animation.
They don't see it yet. It's just the two of us right now.
Well, I'm a sneak peek with my one eyes, with one eye. But the the part that we are actually gonna fix today are the glitches and the constraints that we don't have yet on the time peaking. So we are basically gonna take the today's opportunity before we have the next guest, Florina, on Wednesday, to convert the homemade time management solution that we have. Probably we are going to port it to local time, and we have a lot of constraints when it comes to what kind of number and ranges we want to be able to select with the time picker. So, and we also cannot code, so we are probably going to write a lot of tests before we can write the implementation. So today it's probably going to be a lot of TDD to wrap up the time selection. So it's it's part of the job. It's not compose, but it's part of building an actual app. So this is not a pet project. It's not just some weird demo. We want the app on the Play Store. So this is also what we need to do.
Yeah. Just to show everyone what we're talking about. So, this is where we were left last week. I've done just some minor tweak in the code, in the sense that I have extracted all the time management, all the time UI, like the rows and all that stuff, to a separate file because the onboarding screen file was getting very big. And this is also a lot of code. It's like 310 lines already, and we still have a lot of things to do. But yeah, there are things that we haven't really coded well yet. One thing was this to do here, that we need to switch the hour of day to wrap a local time instead of trying to do all the math by ourselves, which is obviously not going to work because we are terrible at this shit.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
gonna be buggy.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert. There are plenty of people, well, way smarter than us, that figured out already
Yeah.
how to do the times. I mean, time is hard. Time zone and that kind of stuff. Time is super hard, and that's why we have a standard library. So
And we
let's use it.
we also need to make sure that when you create a time range, it mustn't have like the end being before the start, the usual things. So we need to do some logic in the time range, some changes in the hour of day, and also some, like, right now this is just a list, I think, or I don't remember. I think it's a list of those, and we want to change that to something that has more logic, so that, for example, you cannot you cannot have overlapping time ranges. They must be at least one
Yeah.
minute apart, and
Bit of validation.
yeah, essentially validation and making sure that people cannot by mistake create invalid things, and trying to help them do the right thing. And if we have some time, then there's also the ripple thing that we would like to fix eventually, but yeah, not gonna happen right now. That is more of a UI issue thing, so I'm not entirely sure how that will work, but we'll figure it out. We'll see. So,
Let's go.
shall we get started? Where do you want to start from, Ivan? Shall we start from here?
I want. Yes, I would like to try to have better types. Even from because I think this is like the minimum, the smallest building block that we can build, like a data structure, like for avoid overlapping and that kind of stuff. The minimum will be it cannot be hours cannot be 25, that kind of stuff. If we start from there, it's probably
So, I would say, shall we just create a test and try to play around with local time to see what happens when you add something,
yeah
if it does roll over, because that at
yeah
least will tell us how that works.
yeah
So let's say we create a
because
test for this, and then
because the first assumption was like, let's try to use local time out of every possible type that are in the standard library, like zoned data, whatever there is, instant. The idea was like, okay, let's try with local time, and let's see.
oh yeah,
Hi,
hi
Mark.
Mark. I generally add, like I generally use the should format for tests these days.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do more of, you know, what's the given, when, then. I think it has a,
Mm-hmm.
is it BDD? I don't remember. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
gherkin
Well, the
style
should is fine.
declaration. But I prefer should
Should is
these
fine.
days because it doesn't force you to be super wordy about things. It's just like, should add 1 minute correctly when there's no overflow.
Plus, also gives you like a bit of uncertainty, like should.
Yeah, should.
We are not. I mean, it's because when you start like returns true when, you're actually like putting a lot of positivity in that. But if you start with should give you,
Yeah,
it's
it's like I'm
also
hoping that.
yeah, I mean, chances are it's gonna return, but yeah, that's cool. Actually, I also like to use should, and I think JBrains. How is wait? I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the guy. JBrains. I mean, yes, that's because of the website.
JBrains?
He has the yeah. Wait.
Sounds like
It's a
JetBrains
Canadian.
misspelled.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's actually because I'm following. I'm watching testing course. I started with his best introduction to TDD, and now I'm more in the second part. That is the BDD part, and he also is using the should. So
Okay.
it's actually nice.
Okay, so I would say let's start with the simple test, right? We have created a test where we assert that. Oh yeah, it would be nice if you shared the link, but I know I can count
Yeah,
on you even for sharing all the links all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
Looking at it right now.
Yeah, so it's gonna be on screen, but obviously if you're watching this on catch up on YouTube, you're gonna find all the links in the description below. Don't forget to like,
In the
subscribe, and ring
description.
the bell.
Oh Jesus. Okay, but jokes aside, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, remember that you can support the channel. Just need to connect your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account, and then Uncle Jeff gives you a free subscription to a Twitch channel every month, so we can what yeah, Mark, this is the shameless plug that we need to do. I mean, we like the project. We want to keep continuing, so we love the support. So if you can support us, it's even better, because we are planning to have swag in the a future giveaway section. So just stick with us, like the VOD if you are watching it on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you are on Twitch, please think about subscribing for free if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. And I'm just getting the link that I was talking about.
I have showered, Mark. Shut up.
We all are.
While you were saying that, I just started writing another test to check the rollover. So I think I can close the emulator for now. Yeah. Obviously, I put 2 zeros, and it really doesn't like 2 zeros. Okay, this works fine. I was actually thinking, well, there's another test that we need to do to make sure that things work the way we want them to do, which is to check should roll over to the next day. Should roll over midnight.
Yeah.
When adding minutes will overflow to next day. Let's just do next hour. And this is, let's say it's 23 and the hour is, I don't know, 59, and we add 1 minute, and this should be 0, 0. Let's see if this works. If that works, we can just, yeah, okay, it looks fine. I think it would be worth creating the version for the minus as well. We'll also have to do those with plus hours, but let's do one thing at a time and say
one thing at a time. Write a test that fails, a failing test, make it pass. Write another test.
Well, I mean, these are tests just on the behavior of local time, but then we will swap the local time with our ones, and obviously will initially fail, and then we do the replacement, and then they will be hopefully green again. Hopefully being a keyword there.
Hashtag hopefully.
Should, right? Our tests say should.
Yeah. Should. Well, that's what you. I mean, they will be also like it will be like a reality check about our whole design, because if we cannot test it, or if tests are kind of weird, we will also know that we can improve on the implementation and in the interface. So
yep.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Yeah, that's the idea, Mark. It's a very hypothetical attitude. Okay.
Okay, and let me just finish up writing these tests. They're very easy, so it's like taking 1 minute off without rollover, taking time off, rolling over to the previous hour, and then we need to do the same thing with, I keep doing that. With midnight and taking 1 minute off, and this should be 23, 29. Thank you to whoever has subscribed or something. I heard something. For some reason, it's not showing
in the chat?
No, on the stream, it's not showing the graphics that it should be showing when someone subscribes, or follows. I don't know. We'll eventually fix it, maybe. Probably, allegedly. We hear the sounds.
Should.
Yeah, we hear the sound, so that should be fine. But I think I have probably fucked up something, as usual. Should be all right. I don't know. Oh, whatever. Anyway.
Thank you to our
Angry Bot is
to blame.
Your your enemy.
Yeah, that's actually some grudge there. I mean, he is never gonna.
Yeah, there was a red test because I mistyped here, but yeah, surprise, local time works as it's
Local
supposed
time
to.
works.
A Java
Okay.
standard library thing works as it should. What a surprise!
Well, you never know, right?
Yeah, you never know. I was actually thinking that if that's the case, we don't even need hour of day anymore. We can just directly use local time. We don't need to
Local
wrap
time.
it.
Yeah.
There's no point. We would be only delegating
Yeah.
stuff anyway, so we can do
Yeah. Let's try local time.
yeah, just local time. Great. And we don't need that annotation anymore, and I don't need Kaspersky.
Kaspersky.
Every now and then it happens. I don't know. Is it?
There is a shortcut.
Yeah, it's Control Shift Alt P apparently shows up this.
How many fingers you have? Control Alt, whatever.
I like shortcuts.
Like, yeah, but that's a lot of fingers.
I have enough. Okay, so let's say that for now we switch to this. And
I assume everything is gonna blow up.
Obviously, this is gonna break because as display string is actually, where did we declare it? As display string. Oh yeah, in here, right? So this is now we don't need to do this anymore because we can use formatter. So we can have like file time formatter. And I don't think it's worth recreating it every time, but at the same time, I will leave it inside of here because if you change the locale, I'm not entirely sure how that works. So for now, I will just create it every time, but
okay.
Date format? No. Date time formatter.
Simple formatter.
Date time formatter. And it is ISO local time? Yes.
What's hour of the day, 2-digit, and 2-digit for minutes. So,
yeah, this is
also seconds.
This is correct, but it might be that it doesn't like it. It might include the seconds. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So what we can do is we can either see how this is constructed. So we can go here and say, oh yeah, it's this minus this part here that we don't care, right? So this,
yeah, sure.
This is essentially what we need to do. So yeah, let's do that. No, and also, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You need a build. I think you need a builder.
No. Wait.
Yeah, if you go, there is like a formatter builder.
Yeah, I think I fucked it up.
Yeah.
What a change. Never happens to me that I fuck things up.
No.
Okay.
So, but you need to do a final like 2 formatter because otherwise you still have the builder.
And then this,
fair enough.
And so theoretically you should pass it the locale. Now, do you have local
default
configuration? Can you get current? I want to see if it has a locale.
Locale. Yeah, but there is a list, so you should pick the first one in the list.
Locales dot. This is not really a list, is it?
Get 0.
Yeah, but I want. Why is there no first?
It's because I don't think it's like a list.
Yeah, it's not a list. It's a locale list, which for some reason it doesn't expose.
It doesn't. I don't know if even the array should have it.
Like,
I think it's it's
yeah,
probably an array.
it's a shit
Huh.
thing. It's not, no, it's just a plain class.
No, but inside there is a local array or some sort.
Yes, but I don't think you can access it directly. You can only get,
No,
which is
with
annoying.
the get.
Yeah. Um,
Whatever.
Fuck it. This is fine.
This is cool. This is good
Okay,
enough.
so let's say we can now drop that thing and we can do time formatter dot format TimeRange dot from. Okay. What did we have in the
Yeah, we have a question about is safe to use local zero? Yes, because every system has at least one language. So there will always be at least one local. I'm assuming that it's a list because if you go to settings, you can add, English, Italian, Spanish, and then you can actually move them up and down, or the localization system in your apps is going to basically go through all your preferences in the system locale, and if the app doesn't have the first language, they are going to check with against the second language, and so on. So until they get a language that you have, or they fall back to the default language in the app, usually English, but it depends. So yes, you will always have at least one locale, and it's a list because you can have more of them. It was actually a fascinating thing at work with locale lately, because iOS has also a region also. So it has a locale and a region. So you can get in a situation where you say, okay, I want my phone in Italian, but I live in the US. Okay, so my region is United States.
you can really fuck that
Um,
up.
so from an Italian point of view, it does make much sense. But if you are like an English speaking person, for instance, I assume that is also plausible for other languages like Spanish. But if you are like, I have my phone in UK English, but I'm in the US, you can actually work out translations in a very fancy way. Like instead of using eggplant, you can say aubergine, that kind of stuff. If you are like an American living in Britain, you can still get the whatever preferred translation that you have.
Yeah, you will
For us, it
get
does
zucchini instead of courgettes.
something. Like the example was about aubergine,
It's all about the
and
veggies.
I was like, yeah, it's all about everybody. No, but it was actually also herbs and that kind of stuff, that it's um something like because it's like a recipe thing, so there is a lot of ingredients there, like they have different names, even if it is the same language, even English American and English
British
Britain, I
English.
would say, British English, or original English, because why do you need to specify? They invented the bloody thing. Why do I need to put a country? So let's say, but it was a fascinating, and we don't have it on Android, so simplification for the win. But it was an interesting. Local is also American. Yeah, that's the also the other thing, colors and anyway, languages, right? So where are we? What are you previewing?
Just creating a preview for the TimeRange row because we are editing it a bit, and I just want to have an easy
Let's see there.
onboarding theme, and this is just a TimeRange row. So this is TimeRange row preview. Is it here? You put the name? Yeah, name equals inactive. And I think I also need to copy paste yep, this. One thing I don't really understand about the preview annotation is
Mhm.
why you can specify a background color, but you also need to set it to show. Like, can you not make this nullable? And if it's not null, just show it?
Yeah.
Would
I
make a
don't know.
lot
I
of
mean,
sense.
this whole thing is very. Oh, it's raining. I was like,
It's
what's this
raining.
noise? It's
How does
raining.
that look like? I
Yeah,
forgot.
it's like yeah, actually it was supposed to rain, in the afternoon, but I kept checking the pressure, and the pressure was super high. I was like, it's not gonna rain, but actually apparently it is. So go even, so I don't need to water the plants. Yay,
Oh, lucky you.
nature. Yeah, I mean, probably the humidity is gonna kill me in 1 hour, but okay, I don't need to water my plants.
Well, small victories, I guess.
Yeah, well, this is a good thing because we don't have a well, so water is a pressure thing.
Yeah, same here. Hasn't rained in a while, and it's very odd. And every time I water my plants, I feel super guilty about using, tap water for that. I very
Yeah,
much wish
tap
I had a
water.
well, but I don't. So
Yeah,
I don't
but
water the grass, but I water the chili plants that I have because I want chilies in the end. So I need to
nice,
water those.
nice. That's a good investment.
Yeah.
But I have built since we came here like a rain catching system because you can't actually, I mean, as you said, I cannot use tap water. I mean, it's like just not right. That kind of stuff. I can't use
Yeah.
like drinkable water just to water my flowers. It's just something is very wrong from a humanitarian point of view. And I'm catching rainwater. So every time is raining, I'm like also happy because I feel tanks and stuff. So yeah, southern Italy is super hot. I think Aurelio struggling. I mean, it was like 26 minimum in Palermo today. So that's
Wow.
hot.
Good thing
Like
for someone that doesn't doesn't live there now.
yeah, I mean that's I mean I can work with 26 during day, 26 during night. That's intense.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
Okay, so we have a preview. We have two states. That's
yeah,
nice.
that's the preview. That's
Um,
all right. And I guess you can
Even click it.
interact,
Okay.
but obviously this doesn't do shit because it's not meant to do
Okay,
shit, so that's fine. Yeah, I just wanted to test the stuff out essentially, and I
let's
think
go.
it's fine. Uh,
Yes,
translate that
yes.
for everyone, please.
So as our Aurelio is saying in the chat, if you throw corn on the floor, you get back popcorn right away. So that's how hot it is. So okay, Aurelio, just keep hydrated, and you will survive. You will survive. Everything is gonna be fine.
Okay,
So
so I think we have our preview and stuff, and we have switched everything over. So actually, I think it's a good time to start committing things.
yeah, this is fear-driven development.
Yes, I don't want things to disappear under my ass again. Local time. Oh, actually, there's one thing that would be worth trying,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we can do it with the preview. So if we make this interactive, I think it fails. Damn. Why does it fail?
What do you want to do?
I just wanted to see oh yeah, it was failing last time as well. Whatever reason. We don't know what the problem is, but yeah, the animated visibility thing really kills it. But there's some good news. I can still run the app and see how that looks. That's okay. That's okay. Because I just wanted to see. Okay, this is
Boing.
still fine. So there's a problem that I've noticed earlier that I don't know when it started, but essentially now both parts are selected for some reason. So I have fucked up something, but I don't know what.
I see. I see that it goes purple
Yeah, all of it
from
goes
here. Is
purple. So let
the
me color dot cyan, whatever, super cyan.
Super Saiyan?
Oh god, that was terrible.
I don't know if the bot is still active, Mark. Probably we disable it. Probably. So
Did
don't push
you?
it. I don't know, but Aurelio just said something all caps, and
Yeah, but there's a
I mean he's
like
still with.
there's a
He's,
trigger, like it has to be more than 4 or 5 letters in all
okay.
caps, otherwise it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So yeah, you see,
Whoa, that's
it's both of them
yeah.
are selected for whatever reason, and I don't know why. Oh no, wait, I know why. This is why. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the wrong thing to get. It's I need to actually extract this as a parameter is selected. I'm actually thinking on top of that, we don't even need to pass these colors in. We can pass this in directly, like the whole color, and just have the if at a higher
Okay.
level. So
Yeah.
color, and we don't need this 3 anymore. And obviously I want to take this one and move it up, move it up, and then update usages. I love this UI. It's so nice, so
Oh yeah,
intuitive.
this is the thing that you always use.
Yeah,
The
is the
rename with the punch.
fix things after I fuck them up. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm constantly doing Shift F6, and then I remember every time, Sebastiano does the other thing. Let's try. And then I try to do that, and never fucking happens with me. I mean, it's always like, oh, Ivan, you broke everything. Error. And I was like, how does he do it? So, I don't know. I go back to Shift F6 all the time.
Okay, now
Okay,
it's
works.
fixed. Good. And we can also
Nice.
revert this change. Okay, let's say we can probably also commit this. Again, fear-driven development.
Yeah, that's becoming a thing. As long as we cannot reproduce the the bug.
Why is autocompletion not working? Oh well. Oh, now it is. Fuck you, autocompletion.
I don't know, man. I
One,
don't know. Probably it was
when you're
was it
done,
ambiguous or something?
when you're done, then it picks it up.
Yeah. Well, you finish writing the thing, and then you say, "Why it didn't work?" Then you delete half of the stuff that you wrote, and then now it works, and you're like, finally, you see, now it works, and you're like, you just wrote so much stuff.
Okay, so I would say we don't really need these tests anymore, but let's see. Because the thing is, oh yeah, there was another thing that I wanted to try, which was just see if
What
it
if you
rolls
go 0?
around. Yes, it does.
Look at that.
Whoop, whoop,
It
whoop,
works.
whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah,
It's actually super nice.
there's a thing though, I would like to avoid this.
Which one, the 0?
No, the thing that it rolls around, because you see, once we start enforcing the fact that the time ranges shouldn't overlap, then we will need to have like a minimum possible from and a maximum possible to. And we will need to make sure that they cannot go over that. But that's a thing for later. Because the idea is that way, say we are in this situation, so you can go down once, but you cannot go down a second time. It would be stuck at 12.
11. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll figure that out.
How do you imagine? How do you imagine it? Do you imagine it like it gets It stays to 12 or
Yeah.
goes back
Yeah,
to
I just
like 23?
when you select something that cannot go down, this is
Mm-hmm.
disabled, and the same at the top.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And
Fair
then
enough. Fair enough.
even when we implement a scrolling thing, then well, it just doesn't scroll any more than that. That's okay.
Okay.
But one thing
Okay.
at a time. Let's say that we
Sure.
start with the most basic of tests for TimeRange, which is
Mm-hmm.
if you create one where the from is later than the to, then it throws an exception. Obviously, there's no
Okay.
logic for that, but we will add it.
Yeah.
So let's say from is local time dot of 2.
12 to.
I'm just gonna be lazy and I'm gonna do
Mm-hmm.
the MVP and say 2 and 1, and well,
Well, it has to be greater, right?
yeah, ideally this would be like 159 is the edge condition for this check. So let's check it at the edge condition, and then we say that
Oh, so you're checking that it crashes. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Also, why did the app close? Did it crash? No,
Oh no.
it doesn't.
I mean,
It just closed.
it's fine. Yeah, it's running in the emulator. I mean, maybe you just pressed ask. Who knows,
Who
right?
knows? We'll never know. Um, yes, I broke it. Okay, so we need to do assert that this is failure is instance of illegal argument exception.
Illegal argument exception. Yeah, easy peasy.
Okay, so now obviously we run this test.
Is it gonna fail?
It's most definitely going to fail, but
Sure.
you never
Should.
know.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay, it has
Failing
failed
test. Seems okay.
because it was expecting a
Because
failure, but it was success. Damn it. How is that possible?
oh
It's
no.
almost as if we,
Yeah.
we didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, I mean
Anyway,
that's the discipline. Discipline. Sebastian, this TDD discipline. Fa- make it fail, make it pass, refactor. So
okay.
let's go.
So now it fails and now we make it pass. So if, well, even better, require that from is strictly less than 2. And now by using local time, we get this for free, which is very nice.
You get the
Because local time is comparable.
That's
It can be
nice. Oh,
compared
look
with
at that.
another local time. So we get this for free. And require, in case you didn't know, throws an illegal argument exception when the result is not true. And then the cause of the exception is this one. Like the message of the exception is this one. From must be strictly lower than 2. Now, I guess there can be cases where this can fuck up. Say, for example, I don't know if it tracks the date. Like, does it overflow the date or not? So if you have two that are one over midnight and whatever, I have no clue, but we can test it. That's easy. But let's see if the test is green.
Well,
The
yeah.
test is green. Great.
Hey,
I figure we
YOLO.
should also create
Change the title.
well, also that, but also create the positive case as well.
Mhm.
a valid instance of TimeRange correctly. Now, I hate this phrasing because it's vague, but at the same time, it's like covering the base case. So let's say this is to, and let's say this is from, and there you go. And this shouldn't be a failure. This is that, and is equal to, and this is a time range of, and obviously this is kind of obvious, but we are going to make it to check that it passes, and then we're going to make it better with the custom assertions that will make it have some meaning, because it currently doesn't have it, obviously, because it's checking that this is equal to that, which it obviously is.
Yes.
Also, this doesn't need these parentheses. Okay, should throw illegal argument exception when from is bigger than 2. And we also need to do another one, which we'll check later, but when from is equal
Okay.
to 2.
So this is gonna fail.
Yes. So 2 is the same. And then this should also fail. It's not gonna fail now. It's gonna be red, but that's fine. We have 2 green tests and 1. No. Wait, no, sorry, that's correct. It's fine. We have already coded that. It's cool.
So when they are the same, shouldn't be fail.
It should fail because the time range must have at least 1 minute inside. It makes no sense for a time range to have a length of 0, right?
Okay.
Sure. Okay, I just want super quickly to check what happens when you have, like when you cross midnight. So let's say that we do from, this was
23
2.
something.
So the problem is that from is bigger than 2, and let's do 2 is actually, no, okay, it's too complicated. I don't wanna bother right now. It's okay. So let's say we have our
edge cases.
Yeah, we have our basic for now, and that's fine. Now the time range test, to be fair, there is not much else that we need to do here, because the time range is just a data class. It has just one check, and there's not much else we need to do. What we will have to write a lot of tests for is our
the level above.
Yeah, the level above, when we start having like
combining
a list,
more than one.
a list of time ranges. That's where a lot of the logic will go. So shall we create a class?
How do you want to handle it? Do you want a class, or do you want to keep it as a list or a sort, or like a class with a list inside?
I think it would be a class with a list inside, but I'll tell you more.
Okay.
I can also use delegation to make it a list, but it's a smart list.
Okay.
See?
I want to see the smart list. Go for the smart list.
I'm
all about types.
Time ranges list. Name sucks. It's fine. We'll fix it. We'll improve it later. Let's say we need a test for this. Create new test. Okay. Add and move right. Yes, I don't need this anymore. Okay, so this is a class that has inside a mutable list. Correct. So it it has a val, well, private val ranges, let's say, and this is a mutable list of time range. Okay. Which we can
empty.
Just do mutable list of, and yes, it starts empty. but then it will eventually have its stuff. Now, what we can do is we can say this is actually a mutable list of time range
Okay.
by virtue of having ranges. Now, I don't know if this works because it's not. Yeah, I think it needs to be in the constructor. So, like if you have it like
Yeah, I mean,
this.
if you want delegation, I guess you want. Okay. Ish.
What is
Probably you need a type.
what?
Yeah. But that's a default. It should work. Can you?
What does it want? Type annotation is required. Oh yeah,
You need a type there.
I need
So there is
this.
no.
Yeah.
Okay. For a moment, I thought the compiler could actually. Oh, okay. Now is
Yeah.
leading it after that. Okay. Now the second one is redundant.
Yeah. I don't
Okay, I
need this
see.
one anymore.
Fair enough.
Okay, so now our class looks and behaves like a mutable list, which is great. But I
You
think
can override shit, right?
I think so. Can you? Yes, you can.
Ah, look at that.
So
Okay. So what do you want to do? Do you want to write a test that if we add shit, it just blows up? How do you want to do it?
we need an invalid operation. How's it? Unsupported operation. There you go. Here.
To do.
No, it's not to do. We don't have a capacity to
Ah,
add
yeah.
at a certain index
Okay.
because
fair
we
enough.
will take
That's
care of
okay.
the sorting. So that's an easy test to write because if you call this, then it should blow up.
You can make it private in the constructor.
Yeah, I've done it already.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I just lost a minute.
Okay, so let's say we have our thing here. Oh, by the way, I completely forgot. I had promised to write a custom assertion for this. I'll do it later. I'll leave it open so I don't forget. But yeah, this test makes no fucking sense. Well, I can also not do that and cheat and do this. From so time range from import it, thank you, is equal to from, and I realize we're testing the constructor here, so it's kind of pointless, but it's just to show you another nice thing of assert k, which you can do the prop thing, and it will, if it fails, it will actually print a message saying, oh, I was expecting the property from to have this value, but what's that? So it picks up the name of the property automatically, which is fairly nice.
Ah, okay.
You can also set names by yourself, but if it's automatic, it's nicer. Okay, so let's write our test. So should throw unsupported operation exception when adding to a specified position.
Index.
Yeah, index.
No, I mean position is okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not a huge fan of this, thinking about it, because we're implementing an interface and we're saying, oh, yeah, it's that thing, but you cannot really do what you think you could be able to do with that. So I'm not a huge fan of that. And I think we can probably just not have this.
Simplify. I mean, if you don't like it, simplify.
Yeah, I don't like it. So let's actually move that out of the constructor.
I don't have a strong opinion.
Okay, this is not override anymore. And we can actually remove this and we can add a time range. Perfect. And now this test can actually be should add a new time range at the end of the list. Let's say that, for example, we don't have this. Like we don't actually take in the parameter. We only have add time range. Because if you remember in the UI, when you click the ghost item, it adds one, but it decides what the initial value is by itself.
Yeah.
So
we have a question. Mark is
sure.
asking if a set wouldn't be more appropriate because that didn't support
Yes
position.
and no, because our data has a sorting and a set doesn't have a sorting. So like it would be sort of something like a sorted set, but it doesn't even this doesn't really have the semantics of a set. It's not a set, it's a list. And it's not just a list in the sense that it has an order, but also that
constraints
the constraints
on what you can add.
Yeah, the constraints are different in that it's not that you cannot add two identical things, but it's not just that, but also that you cannot add things that overlap, for example. Like you cannot change something to overlap with something else. So, and we'll get to that. Like we're going to have to do a bit of API design journey here, I think. But
but the nice part is that the moment we started thinking about tests, already the design is emerging, right?
Yeah.
We started with let's do let's extend a mutable list, and then we didn't even write the first test. That we already questioning the decision. So that's the beauty of writing tests first, because they actually put it's a reality check, like a serious reality check. I don't know if I like this. Let's simplify. That's the beauty of TDD.
So the first test tool that we can do is we add the time range and we check that time ranges dot thinking whether well, it doesn't really make sense to have we need to add some methods like get and last and first maybe, but let's see. So
let's add what we need. We can even build them as we go.
Let's start with get, and this is index.
Yeah, I mean, the internal implementation is basically, yes, it's definitely a list. From the outside, well, we will probably also only have like add and get and remove.
Yep.
Ish. So I don't know if, I mean, it could be a similar interface compared to a set. But let's see. I mean, what would we go?
Yeah, Mark saying that isn't the sorting internal? I'm talking about the external interface. Yeah. Well, yes and no, in the sense that the sorting is done internally and is guaranteed by the implementation. But the point is that the sorting is a part of the contract of this class. Like, that the list is always sorted. So maybe calling it a list is not 100% correct, and we can call it time ranges schedule. Something like that. Because it's not a list and it's not a set. It has a very specific set of rules in its public contract. So calling it a set would be misleading, because a set doesn't have all these things. Yeah. Sure, it's a superset of what a set offers, but I feel like set and list actually mean very specific stuff to users, and we are not respecting that. So
I don't want to be confusing. I don't want the naming to be too much confusing. So it's a good call to take list away.
So let's say,
because that's actually a detail, like an implementation detail, right?
Yep.
Naming is hard. Yeah, Mark, I feel you. It's super hard.
So we can do time ranges dot zero, or actually we can check the size, but that's a different problem. So assert that time ranges of 0 is equal
Is equal
to,
to?
and now the question is, what do we want the initial time to be?
Yeah, where do we start?
So I would
I mean,
say,
this is completely arbitrary. So
yeah, let's say starts at
9 a.m.
9. Yeah.
Perfect. uh, apparently, naming is hard, but throwing a initial design, it's easy.
Or we can change it later, it's okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's definitely something that you need to document anyway, because I mean, otherwise, how can you tell?
Okay, let's say that we add the first one and it starts at 9 a.m. because we assume that the names. Okay, so we assume that the first time slot you add is from 9 to 10. Actually, I just realized it would make even more sense if this was what you get by default when you create one from scratch.
Okay.
But at
So
the
you,
same time, I want to be able to create one by adding all the items that I want. So I think it's worth having a like a factory method
hmm?
where you can have.
Oh, like you just give like 5 intervals and you build them like that.
I would say, yeah. It's like the default is that it takes all the items that you pass to it and it adds all of them.
But
Uh,
have you just named the companion object factory
yeah, YOLO.
instead of companion?
I mean, you can. It's an object. You can call
You
it whatever you want.
But if you don't put anything, it's called companion, right?
Yes, but this is very specifically a
Oh,
factory. So
yeah, no, but I didn't know that you can name it. So this is actually I love this. Let me check the documentation because now I need to point. I mean, I need to put a link in there that you can actually. I hate you.
you're
Let's see.
welcome.
Uh, compare. But it's actually nice because I never thought that I could rename it.
Okay, so now I'm gonna do something that I'm like it should work, uh, but it's gonna look weird.
Okay.
Which is I made the constructor private, so you cannot construct an empty item. Like you need to construct it with some stuff. And to be fair,
Yeah.
now that the constructor is private, I can actually move the ranges to the constructor. That's fine. And I don't need
I like
the
the private
private
fact.
thing
I
anymore.
like the private constructor.
And now I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to call this invoke.
Oh, okay. Jesus
So
Christ, Sebastiano.
it looks like a constructor. It's not a constructor,
But it's
but now we can
yeah.
have we can make sure that when we create one without passing any ranges, we create one that has the time range that we want. So this would be like we can create our
And
private val default ranges, let's say, and this is a mutable list. No, it's actually just a list of. I'm thinking in terms
mute
of
like time range.
making the invoke depend on this. So essentially, you call off here with the default ranges, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is a list, so it's probably better to make an array of. array of, and then you pass this, and this is done. Okay, that works.
Why? Why do you think this is better? I mean, why go for the array and then the spread?
Just
It's
because
not
I
clear
want to
to
put
me.
more than one. Like, ideally, I want to create a default, like the schedule. If you create it empty, it will start from a default state that is that has two items, like one for the morning and one for the afternoon. I think it makes more sense. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's go.
Also, because then I can show some Kotlin hacks.
Okay. It's all for the show. It's okay. Okay.
They call me Eugenio.
Like, yeah. I miss him so much. Anyway, where
Okay,
is the validation? We don't have the validation yet, right?
we don't have the validation yet. Yes, we are
Okay.
going to, but not yet. Okay, I just needed to create the constructor first because otherwise the tests are, not gonna do much. And let's have the timings here. Let's say this is from 9 to 12:30, which is what we have in the UI. And then from, I don't know, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Something like that. I mean, this is way too much time. You shouldn't work this much, but I routinely do. So it's fine.
Well, that's not a lot. Come on, it's how many hours?
It's more
like
than
pretty
9 to
standard.
5. But it has a
Well, I
longer
mean, but
lunch
you have,
break.
yeah, because like a siesta time kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess. I normally do it like this, but whatever. Anyway. This can be private,
Private.
absolutely. Okay. So now we
So
have our constructors.
does the operator invoke that you use there? The fancy factory thingy looks like a constructor, is not a constructor thing. Does it have a name, or do we need to call it the fancy thing that Sebastiano did during the stream?
You mean this? It's just abusing invoke. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's a name for it.
Okay, so but I can quote you on that. Like, no, I'm just gonna abuse the
I
invoke
am
to make
abusing
it
invoke,
look
but I've
cool.
seen someone doing that. I think in the space APIs, the space is a JetBrains product.
JetBrains
In the
Space, yeah.
APIs for JetBrains Space, they are using this trick to do some validation before creating instances and also to invoke things the right way under the hood, to delegate to the right thing. And yeah, I think it's a very clever, if dangerous, thing to do. But for this case, I think it's perfectly fine. The only caveat here is that in the bytecode, obviously, this is not a constructor call. Like the bytecode that is generated is different because this is now a
It's different.
static call.
Yeah.
Because you don't have anything.
It's a factory, basically.
Yeah, it's disguising a factory as a constructor.
Yeah.
So you can have constructors that do multiple things, but I would recommend against doing that. I think it's only fine if you want to like inject default values in the constructor, but also not expose that constructor in a sense. I don't know. Well, anyway, it works fine in
Let's
this
see.
case. So let's say should add 9 to 12:30 and what was it, the other one, 14
2 p.m. 14
to 18 to and a new time range. So
I think the column there is pissing your compiler.
It doesn't like the colon, but I can do this. Can I? No, I cannot. Fuck.
Nope.
I tried.
No, just remove it. Come
whatever.
on, like, okay.
Understandable. Still intelligible, that's
Yeah.
enough. So we can check that the first time range is 9 to 12:30, we said,
12:30.
and that the first one
Second
is,
one.
yeah, sorry, because index, yeah, my brain is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And then this
It's
is
also...
until 6. Now, this is fine. This is fine. I think it's also time. Yeah, okay. I was testing the wrong thing. I was running the other test, the one that we wrote
Well, they
before.
passed. That's good.
Yeah, but it was passing the wrong thing. Like this one is green now. It's fine. There's one thing I want to highlight though. This test is making two assertions, but if one goes red, like if the first one goes red, the second one, you don't know if it's red or not. And there are
Okay.
cases, like in most cases, you shouldn't assert multiple things in a single test, but this is, in my opinion, a good exception to that rule in the sense that it makes sense because you want to check that the initial state is a certain state.
Yeah.
So one thing that you can do is wrap this in assert all. And now, well, actually, let me do it without first. So you can see that if I change this to 13, for example, let's say, and I run it again, oh yeah, also this is wrong because the second one is red, it's fine, but if I change the first one as well, I only get an error for the first assertion and not for the second one, right? But if I do assert all, now I suddenly get an error for both of them. So I have two failures. The first one is that the first is wrong, and the second one is that the second one is wrong. So in general, when you have more than one assertion and they all need to be passing at the same time, wrapping them in assert all is a good idea because then it doesn't hide errors.
And again, I mean, if the error message is clear, you also know where to start looking, right?
Yeah.
That's the important part.
Yeah. Yep.
And you don't, and you probably avoid chasing ghosts. Like, you fix the first one and then the second one fails. And then, I don't know, if you are like in a very bad streak and then you have 3 assertions. So let them fail all together so I can actually wrap my head around, oh, this is completely broken. It's not just a tiny thing. So it's good. Assert all, it's a nice thing. Let's see.
Okay, I want to make this look a bit nicer because right now we are just using is equal to. But this is not always possible and this is not always desirable because it's hard to read. Like it's a lot of shit. So what you might want to do is you might want to create a custom assertion. For example, you might want to be able to say assert that time range is 0 has from, and then you put the expected time there. So you don't have to create another instance here. You can just, do this. And that would be much, much nicer and more readable. The way you do it is you use the given and then you do time range. This is fine. And then you can check things here. So you can either write other assertions here, like assert that time range dot from is equal to blah blah blah, or you can do if time range dot from is not equal to expected, then you can do you can throw an error and have a message, and this would be was expected to have a from value of and then here you can have like the expected but didn't, and then you pass in the expected value, and the actual value, which is the TimeRange.from. And you have a custom exception, like a custom check, and you can just do, and also, sorry, on top of that, you can also do return at given, this. So now, wait, does given not return things? It doesn't. Okay, I need to create convert. Yep. And this is return this. Okay. And I need to put the return time. Yeah, so I can now chain them. There you go.
Yeah.
And I can do the same thing for the 2. It's a fairly easy thing to check. And this is 2. And now I can change this checks to something that looks a lot nicer, which is has from and dot has to. And now my checks are a lot more readable.
Fancy.
This is much more readable than this. And essentially it's the same thing. You can do the other for the other one. So this would be 14 and this would be 18, 0. We don't need this anymore. I'm gonna run the test again and it should work if I haven't fucked it up. I might have fucked it up.
Wait. Let's see.
Expected was expected to have, yeah, obviously. Was expected to have a... Wait, I forget how the message is created. Oh yeah, expected from to be, but was TimeRange dot from. Okay, yeah, sorry, this makes more sense. And now I need to change this, and this too. Okay, good. Now the error was another one, but it's good that it's failed, so I fixed the error message.
The error message.
Okay, so expected from value to be 14, but was 9.
9.
Oh yeah, I fucked it up here. That was the problem. Okay, good.
Okay.
We're golden. Perfect.
Not bad.
So we have some tests, and that's very nice because it means that now we can, like, we have assertions as well, which are fairly useful, and we can use them in other tests, which is great. So maybe we can call this, instead of add, we can call it append. Append TimeRange, and let's say, I mean, I'm not gonna test this because this is basic shit.
No, but I want to. I mean, it would be nice to. What if I give you like a negative number? But at that point, you know, we are going in a very specific direction.
We have we don't have that. We don't even have set, to be honest, because we have set, or actually update range, where you pass in the old one, the old value, and the new value. Why is this? We need to do this because, first of all, we need to find where the old one was, and we need to replace it in the list. But also we need to sort things again. So, and we need to run all our checks where we make sure that things aren't overlapping and blah, blah, blah. So where do we want to start? Should we start from the easy one, which is this?
Yeah, let's try the test for the append, and let's write the append.
Yeah. Should append TimeRange that starts immediately after the last one in schedule. Wait. After the last one and lasts 1 hour. So we can do here, we can do time ranges dot append time range, and we can do I think it would be worth to having a last function. Will avoid us a lot of writing of accessors. It's fairly easy to do anyway, which is ranges.last. And also, yeah, well, there's no last or null. There's always a last one. We also need to make sure that when we create the delete function, then it doesn't let the thing go empty. But that's a different thing for later. So let's say we do
another test.
Yeah, and we do time ranges.last. And then we see that this one, so the default, remember, ends at 18. So this would be starting from 1801 and going to 1901, right? Or actually, should it go?
No, 0.
Should it go to 0 or to 1? I think it should last 1 hour anyway. So it should be that. This
1 hour. Yeah. Yes.
This is correct. So let's say we run this. Obviously, this is gonna blow up because we don't have.
Well, hopefully.
Well, there's a to-do. If it doesn't blow up, we have another problem.
You never know.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, not implemented yet. That's the best message that you can get.
So let's do ranges dot. Well, let's do last. Dot to, and this is val last
like
two.
Ending previous last two.
And then we need to say that we want to create
plus 1 minute.
Time range, which is a time range of from from is local time.
Bad local time.
I don't have a rolled up newspaper, but I would smash it. Bad autocomplete. Bad. So it's last two. Plus minutes
plus
one.
Minutes 1. This is so nice. This is so useful. Mamma mia. I use it all the time. This plus operators, plus 1 minute, plus minutes, plus hours. They are so good.
And then 2 is last 2 plus hours 1. And I think that this is why I was saying here, this should probably be 0. Because otherwise I would have to do plus hours plus minutes.
You also need. Yeah, what do you want to do? Like 1 hour? Because this is 59 minutes now.
Yeah, I fixed the test.
What do you want to do? Like 1 hour? No, I'm serious. I mean, do you want 1 hour or 59 minutes?
I think it should last until I don't know. Chat, what do you think? Let's have a popular vote. What people think. I'll write the rest of the function in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, if I have something that ends at 6 and I create a new one, it starts 6:01, but it ends at 7 or 7:01.
Let's see what chat says, if anyone says anything.
Anyway.
I will also put some internal stuff for now that we're not going to create the logic for, but it needs to be there. Which is sort ranges or check and sort. Which is the very meaty part of what we will have to do later. Because obviously at some point we'll have to...
Is that a function, right?
Yeah, it's a function, but I forget. This is to do. It's not going to throw for now, but we need to call it here after we add. Check and sort ranges. That's fine. Also,
so you want to add it before we check if we can add it?
I'm not gonna add the check yet, but that is definitely something that we need to do at some point.
No, I mean the range. No, why like the time range? So we are adding it to the list before we check that if we can actually add it to the list, or
I think it would be worth having like a var can add further ranges, maybe something like that. There is a boolean, and well, just needs to be a val, honestly, and this is get, and we need to do essentially this is less than the last available minute, the last available thing, which is local time of 23:59. This should be enough, right? But I don't want to do the check yet.
Okay. So let's go with 59. Let's stick with 59 minutes.
Let's
so we have around hours.
Let's run the test.
Yeah.
Okay, the test is passing. And now we can add another test. But when we have already created a time range that that has the like the that ends at 23:59, so there's not anything else that we can add after that. So this should throw legal state exception if the last range already ends at 23:59. Okay, and then we also need to write the test for this, probably. I think this actually makes more sense. So this would actually be, instead of if the range ends at that time, if this is false. Should throw an illegal state exception when appending a range if that is false. So that would be fairly easy to do. Well, also it doesn't leak the logic for this into this test, because if we decide to change the for whatever reason, then at least we have something reasonable. So let's say that we don't use the predefined one for now. We just use val time range ending before, well, ending at end of day, and this is time range schedule. Oh, this is actually schedule. And I guess we need to call this schedule as well. Okay. This is a time range schedule of, and here we can pass just the one time range, I guess. Time range from whatever.
23.
Yeah. From, well, this works, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. Because the important part is the 2, which is essentially the same thing, but oops. And this is 23:59. Oops, fuck you. Okay, better.
Yeah, the formatting.
Yep. Also, we don't need this
assert
all here. Yes. We don't need that assert all. Okay, fine. So this one, this is fine, but we need to do that schedule ending at the end of day dot append time range. Well, we don't need to do it on those many lines, but we can do is failure is instance off, and it is a legal state exception, and that's fine. This is also going to fail. I was I think we also need to, just to be 100% sure that this test cannot fail under the hood, is that we need to make sure that the schedule actually has this being false. So no, can add further ranges is false. And then, okay. And there's no need to run this if this is false in the first place. This is kind of like a sanity check for ourselves. We could even, it doesn't need to be an assertion even. This could be just a check. It's more of a sanity check, an internal sanity check for the test itself. Yes, simplified, whatever. And test precondition failed, and is true. And the typo here, okay, good. Now we can run this, and then we also need to write the tests for this, but we'll see later. Expected failure, but was success. Obviously, we don't check that yet, but now we can check it. So we can do check, can add further changes, and then we can have a message here, which is trying to add a time range when can add further changes is false. Can add further ranges is false. And now this test should go green. Yes.
Yay.
Yay. Green test. Green test.
Yay.
So, okay. I think this is fine. Ivan, what do you say? Shall we write the test for this?
Yeah, let's go.
So
what do? We do...
I think let's just...
Should...
Dictate. I will write what you say.
Oh, well.
Yes.
Can add further ranges. So should have... I don't want to say room or space. Oh, should be able to add... so what,
we're just checking the property now.
We
just want to check the property value.
Okay. So we can just check if it's true. Should have true on a new time schedule. I just want to say.
Yep, that was exactly the same test that I was thinking about. So noise.
Fair enough. Considering the heat, that's nice. I call it a win.
Loaded question. How much importance do you put on test coverage? Relatively low. I think test coverage is a number that people like to see in their dashboards, and they give it a lot more meaning than it actually has. It's an indication that you might need to write more tests, but people going crazy about, oh, I need 100% test coverage or more than X, it's kind of useless, to be honest.
The unfortunate part about code coverage is that if you make it a goal and you don't have the right team, so you don't have people that actually believe in testing, they will constantly find loopholes to achieve the code coverage, writing just meaningless tests. I mean,
yep.
I remember with Sasha at some point we ran an experiment where we were able to achieve incredible amount, like level of code coverage, because we were just calling the functions, right? We were not asserting anything. You just take a class, you write a test, and you just call every function in that class, and you have 100% coverage according to the tools, right? I mean, every line is covered, you're calling everything, but you are not asserting that the thing is actually working. So you basically just cheated the system. You just ruined the game for everybody, because yeah, that's just the goal that they gave you. And if you want to reach the goal, well, I'm gonna do everything in my, and I don't want to actually play nice. I'm just gonna cheat. So if you make code coverage like something that has to be done, or something that is, as Sebastiano said, you want to show off on dashboards, but you have the wrong people in the team, it's just gonna be bad as any other practice in programming. But on the other side, if you have like people that are, liking the idea of testing, they're doing TDD, they're doing extreme programming and pair programming, and so you won't care about the code coverage, because if you build it in TDD, the code coverage is gonna be pretty close to 100. So I will probably try to, yeah, it's much hard. Yeah, but to get quality stats. But that's the thing, it's more like, I mean, in my case, it sounds very new age kind of thing. But if you want to have like a good, let's say, measure of the quality of the code base, just ask the people that work on the code base. They're gonna tell you. If for every sprint you have people trying to push, oh no, we would like to pay some technical debt, they are not happy. So the quality is definitely probably where they don't want it. If you want numbers, that gets very tricky, because how would you? Yeah, that's exactly what I want to stress, that code coverage is quantity over quality. But because if you just want 100% coverage, well, I'm just gonna give you 100% coverage. I can write one test that calls every function in the code base, and you're gonna have 100% code coverage, but still, nothing is gonna work. But if my bonus is based on the code coverage, so that's the thing. The moment you start putting money close to code coverage, the whole thing just collapses, because you made code coverage a goal, but you shouldn't be working on the other side. You try to, if you build the system in TDD, why do you even bother about code coverage? For sure that there is so much testing around the stuff. You don't need to guess, or you don't need to actually doubt the theme, because, well, they built it in TDD, so they had to write the tests before they write the code. So there is no way around. The code coverage is going to be through the roof. But at that point, nobody's going to give a shit about the code coverage, because you have people in the team that actually they care about the previous step, writing the test before writing the code. So if you want measurement, it's super tricky. But if you just want like a feeling or quality, just ask the people. That's what I believe. It's more close to the reality. If you ask me, if I'm not happy, I'm gonna tell you. And if you are like in a management position, it was gonna be pretty close to reality. Because statistically speaking, if the team is working on the code base and they are afraid of the code base, they are not happy with the code base, and they are, if you have technical debt tickets on the board, bugs ticket on the board, that's the quality measure that you need to probably consider, or I will consider that. I know that nobody is ever happy about the code that we write, because that's how the whole human brain works. But they will give you, if I'm happy about something, I'm gonna tell you, oh no, everything is fine, come on, yeah, we have glitches and shit, but we are figuring out. But if I want to tell you that, oh no, yeah, our code coverage is through the roof, It's like, how many lines of code did you write today? It doesn't mean anything.
I'm just extracting
Okay,
some
so
constants and stuff while you're talking.
yeah, I'm also gonna probably ban this. We have spam.
But I want to
How do I
become
do it?
famous.
Ban. Oh, shut up. So why don't most companies use TDD? Because it's hard. Because it takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of practice, and on in the short term, short view of So TDD, it looks like something that it's taking time, because especially if you are not familiar with the technique, as everything else in life, you're going to be slow, right? I mean, it's like playing guitar. If you're learning playing guitar, you're going to be crappy, slow, and you cannot do the Jimi Hendrix fancy shit. Okay, but if you train and if you practice, eventually you're going to be faster. You're going to be better. If you work for companies like ThoughtWorks, that they actually build a lot of stuff in TDD, most of the stuff in TDD and pair programming, yeah, you're gonna get better at TDD very quickly because you're working for the right company that does that. If you're working for some company that you just want to ship stuff and be like throwaway code or building prototypes or MVPs, and you don't have practice, you won't be able to learn how to do it, and you won't be effective when trying to do it because you're going to be slow at the beginning. Plus, it's always about who the fuck cares, because most of the time, the mobile industry, especially the mobile industry, you're working on entertainment stuff. So quality is super overrated. I mean, we are probably the only people in the room that care about quality. Most of the time, they just want to ship stuff, and it's probably okay, because most of the apps that we write is just JSON coming from a backend, and then you show it in a recycle view. So there is no much thing there. I mean, you're just showing a list. But again, that's my opinion. So if you want to do, I'm a huge fan of TDD. So testing is important for me, but it's not for everybody. It has everything in life. So Sebastiano, I see inner test, nested test.
Yeah,
I
it's just because it
see
was
stuff
getting
happening.
like everything was mixed up
Crowded.
together and it was getting very complicated to figure out what was what because they're all unrelated things being tested. So I am switching
Yeah.
to nested because it makes it easier to figure out what's what. One important thing that
Yes.
I realized is that our check was actually wrong because we can
Okay.
append another range if and only
Mm-hmm.
if the last one ends not at 23:59 because that doesn't leave us any time, but only if it starts at 23:58 because we need to have actually no that's also wrong. It needs to end at 23:57 because then we can start a new one in the next minute and then end it in the minute after. So we can have a 2 minutes long thing.
Okay,
Because
I see what you
the
mean.
minimum range duration in minutes is actually 2. The minute it
Two,
starts on and the minute it ends on. It
and
must be
then
at
so
least
on.
2. So
Okay. So Mark say code quality can make it easier to adapt to changing requirements, but that's actually also true for throwaway code. As you already probably you saw it in your career. I mean, there is nothing better to adapt to requirements that change to throw away and write it from scratch. Because especially it's in the consultancy world, that's how you make money, right? Just throw it away. But jokes aside, if you build a system in a way that is actually easy to maintain, like you're using interfaces, you are testing the contracts, and you are testing like the real testing, like the one that you are testing an API, an internal API. I'm not saying like a REST API. That's no, like in your domain, you are testing a contract, you are testing an interface or something. You are testing something as a black box. So I agree. You can swap the implementation, as we are gonna do for the data store with Florina on Wednesday. You can iterate on the implementation. You can change the implementation. You can swap a database with a remote Firestore, whatever you want to do. If you have tests in place, that's definitely gonna help you to sleep at night. But that's like a very conscious decision. Nobody's gonna ever ask you to write the tests. So if you and you need to be ready to fight those battles. Like, we should write some tests around here because this is important for our business logic, or this is like the thing that we are building today. This is actually super tricky to do. I mean, we are, as far as I can tell, we are writing tests because I have no fucking idea how to write. Like I wouldn't be able to write it like, oh, let's write the implementation. It probably may work, but probably I'm missing out on like a gazillion edge cases that they are just gonna bite me in the ass, like in the future. And if I miss an edge case today, the edge case turns into a complaining user, that turns into a Zendesk ticket, that turns into a Jira ticket, that turns in the next sprint, we need to fix this bug. So the sooner you short circuit the the loop and say, okay, I'm gonna just write a test here, so nobody saw that I actually was not able to build this thing, the better. Because otherwise it's just gonna take like 2 weeks to fix, and then eventually you're gonna do like a one-line fix, and then I was like, boom, see, I just closed the bug in a minute, everything fine, I'm so cool. And then you
But why
fix the
take a
thing in
minute when you
5 minutes.
can take an hour?
But that's the thing. You fix the bug in 1 minute, so it's gonna take longer to actually move the card to in progress on Jira than actually fix the thing. And then what happens then? You create a pull request, okay? Your teammates get a notification. People are going to review the pull request, and then the CI is building the thing, and then is merging the thing, and then is going to be out in the next release. Let's say you are releasing today. You release on the Play Store. It takes 6 hours to sync the cloud. And then what? Everybody has to install the update. Okay, and it's gonna take like 2 weeks to actually have everybody on board. So you fix it in a minute, and it's gonna take 2 weeks to have it on your user's phone. That's a lot of bullshit. That's a lot of money that you're throwing out of the window. That's a lot of very unhappy customers. That you can't actually risk this kind of shit. So, it doesn't mean anything. Oh yeah, I just fixed it. No, you should be writing tests to avoid this kind of 1 minute fix.
Yep.
Do you use a framework for testing? We actually just go for the JUnit 5 plus AssertK. No fancy thing. If you're thinking about something like Spec or Cucumber, if you want to do like fancy BDD stuff, we are not doing that. I mean, this is like super tiny unit test, JUnit and AssertK. I mean, we can be fancy because Sebastiano just wrote a couple of fancy assertions that I really like. But the gist of it is like we are very, very, very close to the ground. So pretty straightforward. Mark, when bugs are found, if possible, and a test to reproduce, yes, you have confidence when you fix it. Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly.
That's a very important thing. Is like when you have a bug, always write a test to try and reproduce it, because that way you always know if you have a regression, which you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah,
And having regression testing is super useful.
Yes, smoke tests, regression tests. If you have some end-to-end tests, they take long, they are hard to build, but they are actually gonna help you long term. If you have things like a login flow or like a sign up flow or whatever flow in your app, and then you build like a regression test, like a smoke test that goes from the first screen to the last screen. Yes, it's gonna hit the network, it's gonna hit the database. Yes, probably it's gonna be super slow. It's gonna probably a bit flaky every now and then. People are, but it's gonna help you because you have no idea how many times it happened that we were working on a screen completely unrelated and somebody came to, oh yeah, the onboarding is not working anymore. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? We didn't touch the onboarding like for weeks. And then you realize that in the onboarding nobody actually remembered you were doing something with some weird repository that you just broke. And now also the onboarding is not working anymore. If you have like a regression testing, regression test, or like a smoke test that checks these flows, like the onboarding, the login, they help you long term.
Absolutely, absolutely. While you were talking, I have finished I've done an initialization test just to make sure that we throw when we create an empty instance, which we said is one of the
Nice.
business rules. And we will probably also need to create later like a function that we can ask if something can be deleted. Or maybe it's something that can be added to TimeRange itself. I don't know, but to inform the UI whether an item can be deleted or not. But
Yeah.
I think that the right thing to do would probably be to slightly change what we currently have, because we currently don't support removing the first item. But
No.
if we have a can delete items function in TimeRange schedule, what we can do is we can have the delete item on all the ranges, but every time we delete one, there's a recomposition and the value is rechecked, and we essentially in that function we'd only need to return true if there's at least two items in the two ranges in the schedule.
Okay.
So we can make it possible for users to delete even the first one as long as there's at least another one range, which I think it makes more sense.
I see what you mean. So I don't want the 9 to 10 anymore, and I have 11 to 12, so I want to get rid of the first one.
Yeah,
Yes,
instead
that
of
makes
having
sense.
to remove the second one and change the first one, I think it's better.
Yeah.
But one thing at
Yeah.
a time. I just wanted to implement the update range function, and I've also put a couple of to-dos here for the check and sort, which we'll figure it out soon. But let's start with this, the update range. So let's say that obviously an obvious failure is when you're trying to add you're trying to update something that isn't in our list, so that should throw an exception, like, oh yeah, change this to this, but we don't know this, so like that
yes, we don't have it.
Yeah, we don't have it. What do you want me to do? So my idea is that I'll just create a random range and try to remove it from the default instance, a range that we don't have already there. So it's like from 10 to 11, which is not a default one. So local time off 11 0, and then we say assert that schedule dot update range from some range to we need to create some new range, but that's not important. That's an easy one to do. This is some new range. There you go.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. This is a failure, and it is in illegal argument exception.
Oh, the other one.
I have
It's always the second one.
I have mistyped. Yeah, I know. I generally remember that, but I sometimes forget. Okay, so now we run it,
No,
and this should... Yes, it fails, and that's correct because it's expecting it to be legal argument exception, but it's not implemented. Obviously, we haven't implemented that yet. But we can do...
Well, that's good. Failing tests are good.
Require... actually...
That the list contains old.
I think it makes more sense, like it saves us some iteration time, even though the list is never going to be big, so it doesn't really matter too much. But we can say that there is... we can check the old position or old index and say that ranges dot index of old, and this...
I think it's like if there is no element in the list, or I mean, if the list there is were requiring is okay, fair enough. So because it's -1, right? If it's not in the list.
Exactly. So it must be greater than 0, and we know for the contract of index of that is never gonna be bigger than the count. Obviously, like it's a position of an item in the list. It cannot be outside of the list size. So we only need to check for the lower bound. And is range not found, and this is old, and now this should work. The test should pass now. Yes, great.
Because require is throwing a legal argument, right?
So require is used to checking arguments, and check is used to check state conditions.
State. Okay.
Because check throws illegal state exception, and require throws illegal argument exception.
That's the thing that I always try to remember. So one is illegal state and the other one is illegal argument. And I'm trying to create some muscle memory sort of thing to remember which one is which. Require an argument and check a state.
Yeah, so you can think of it as a check a runtime condition. That is the way I think of it. It's like check is for runtime conditions, and requirements are for parameters.
Okay, well, but they still run runtime checks, right?
Yes, but okay. It's more like check is more for assertions in a way. It's like, oh, I've been told to do something that doesn't make sense. And it is like, surely requirement checks are also similar things, but requirements are inputs and checks are state.
Yeah.
So it's two different...
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, two different faces of of a very similar medal, let's say.
Nice, nice, nice.
Okay, so let's write the next test. Now we need to make sure that when we call update range, we replace the value of that range with the new one.
The new one.
So the obvious thing to do would be should replace the old value with the new one when it doesn't overlap. Because then this is where the complexity will start from. Yeah, Mark, and I know that require and check are maybe not the easiest names to remember which is which, but again, naming is hard. So unfortunately, That's the only thing we can do. So let's say that we create val schedule with one range, and this is a time range schedule dot off, and actually this goes here, and this is some range. So we have a schedule that only contains one range, so we are sure that it doesn't contain others. When there is only one range. So this is the base case where we only have one value and we need to check that it's doing the thing that it should. So we have a schedule with one range, update range, some range, some new range. And now assert that schedule with one range dot last, because it is also it's the first and the last. And then we can do that's from, or we can do easy. We can also do equals here because it makes sense, but is equal to some new range. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, okay, no, yeah, this is correct. We're not checking the single values. We just want to make sure that the only value that is there is the one we have. I think this is the point where we introduce the size or count function. Or actually, okay, yeah, let's make it like that. And then we can make sure that it hasn't created another one, for example.
The size stays the same.
Yeah. Assert that schedule with one range dot has size 1. Obviously, this doesn't exist yet, but we can easily create one. So it's the same thing. So this is time range schedule, and this is time range schedule, and size, and this is an int. And then given the schedule, size, and then
it's a nice message.
Yeah, expected size. Also forget that this needs to have a space at the beginning. Expected size to be this, but was that size, and this is size. Okay, now we have a nice check for that. That looks the same as the one that we have for lists. Let's try and run it. Obviously, this should fail because we haven't actually done anything. So yeah, it's failing. And
well, I mean, it's failing. It's working.
So we can do.
I mean, first fail.
Ranges dot remove all.
It's a replace, isn't it?
There's only a replace all, which is
okay. But can you replace all? Can you pass how many?
Yeah, but it's the same
how many?
thing. Replaces each element of this list with the result of applying the operator to that element. This would be like replace all if it equals old, then new, else it. But I think it's clearer to have a remove and adding.
Yeah, well.
Or we can even do remove at, which is faster because we have the index already.
We have the index.
Remove that, and then we can do ranges.add old index and new. And this should make it work. Now, yes, obviously we don't have the next thing, the next step, which is, making sure that if the new item overlaps another item that is already there, then it should have a route. So should throw legal
Reject
argument
should throw.
exception if the new range overlaps
an existing one.
an existing one. Okay. And this is gonna go in here. So we need to do the check for overlaps here. But to make it efficient, oh, thank you for subbing, Risman. And
we don't get it here.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
we need to check. Because there at some point we had
appeared on the stream.
in the channel.
It appeared on the stream, so that's fine. It's something already.
Oh, I love it.
So we will need some tests for sorting, but let's leave it as a to do. This is just a to do for now. Because then the first thing to do is sort things by, I think the easiest thing to do is to sort time ranges by the start time. Because essentially they all must start one after the other. And then that makes it easy to check if there are overlapping ones by just checking, excluding the first and the last item if there are overlaps. Well, excluding the first one because it doesn't have another afterwards, but I know what I mean. So
yeah,
that's
the important
ranges
part.
Dot sort by, and this will sort things, and it is it dot from. So sort by start time, and then how do we check for overlaps? Then we do ranges dot we can do, I mean, the easiest thing to do would be to drop one and then do a for loop. And I'm gonna write it as a for loop to start, and then we'll see if we can express it in a more functional way. But the idea is that oh wait, obviously this is with index because we also need the previous one. Or do we need to do in indices? Yeah, indices, and this is just index. Okay. So now we can do val current is ranges dot well, we get the index.
How do you want to do it?
I want to get the current and the previous. We drop the first one. We drop the first one, so this is always fine to do, right? Because if there is only one item, then indices is going to be empty and this is never going to run. If indices has two items, then this works because you have the current one, which is going to be index 1, and then you have the previous one, which is index 0. And now the only thing you need to do is you need to
is it dropping the first one or the last one?
Think of it as a sequence or an observable. You drop the first one.
So it's like skip. Basically.
Yeah, it's skipping. So in a sequence, when you drop something, is it from the point we are at, you start dropping n items, but we always start at the beginning when iterating on a list. So it's the same as doing sub list from index 1. It's the same.
No, I was wondering because there is no skip operator. It's called drop, right? But it's doing the same thing that
and you can also do drop last if you want.
Oh, fair enough.
And you can do drop while and drop last while. So checking the items as you drop them. And now what we can do is we can make sure that current dot well, first of all, we need to check that the from of the current one is bigger, strictly bigger than previous dot 2, right? So range at position index. What was it? Starts. Start overlaps previous range. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
We control time range, so we know that time range must have the from and to must be on different minutes. So the time range must always have at least a length of 2, right? So we don't need to
Yes.
add
Yeah, we have a
further
minimum.
checks. To be honest, this is enough.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it comes with the domain.
yeah,
It's like a constraint in our domain.
yeah, we could have more checks. Like we could have a requirement that current is long at least 2 minutes, but that we have our own class on purpose just to not to have to do that here, because the fact that it is our time range, it guarantees that for us.
We need to leverage the fact that the domain constrains how we build time range. So that's legit. Otherwise, you never end checking things, right? At some point, you need to start trusting.
Yep. So let's say that we have here our, let's create our test because we put, unfortunately, I put us in the position of having to write the test after I've made the changes, but it's okay. I don't mind too much. So let's say we have this that starts at 10, ends at 11, and we have another range that starts at 12 and ends at 13, and we want to replace some range with another one. So some new range, this actually overlaps the other one. And I think I will just, call this schedule. Fuck it, I don't care. So some range, some other range, and then we want to replace some range with the other one. So this one actually starts at 10 and it ends at 12, right? So this is overlapping and this should not work. So now we should have that assert that this is failure and is instance of illegal argument exception. Okay, let's see if we have written it correctly.
Let's go.
Because this one is...
ouch!
I fucked up something very badly. Index -1, out of bounds for length 2. Yeah, I fucked up. This one.
So let's see. Where is the crash? Here. Index -1.
I'm obviously trying to be smart when I shouldn't. So let's say...
Well, I mean, this is a good thing, right? Because we have tests for a reason. So let's try.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe... this is better. This is more explicit.
It could be, I mean, let's see.
This should work. Yeah. I had fucked up something, obviously. But it's okay. This is actually a better way.
I mean, probably the drop. Is it probably the drop not doing the thing the way we were expecting?
Probably.
Who knows, right?
I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on it. This runs.
Anyway,
Seb is happy.
Yeah, this is the good thing, right? Okay, we have a test. You just make it green, and then we are good to go.
Yep. I want to also make sure that this works for overlapping the previous one. So some new other range. This is gonna overlap some range. So on the lower bound, because we checked the upper bound, but I also want to check the lower bound. So let's say that some new other range is actually starting at 11 and it's ending at 13. And this is this one. And I want this to fail. Is it failing though? It
Ouch.
is. No, it's correct.
So,
It's fine. It must fail.
okay. Failed.
In this
Okay. I see.
sense, it's a
Yeah.
failure. Yes.
Sorry, I was like, it's failing. It's in the sense that it's throwing, as
Yeah.
Aurelio pointed out a few minutes ago. The task failed successfully.
Yes.
So that's so that's actually a leitmotif of the episode.
I also want to add why that now that we have the check and sort ranges function sorted out, I also want to.
I like what you saw there. I saw
It
it.
was not intentional, but whatever. I want to test this
Well,
is run when we do the initialization, because if you
when
call it,
we create,
yeah, if you use the factory off and you pass it things that are overlapping, then
overlapping,
that's not correct, obviously.
it should throw.
Yeah.
It should throw.
So should throw when creating an instance with overlapping ranges. And this is gonna be a bit more of a pain, except.
You can, let's just throw it here.
I am gonna copy paste this and say that I'm gonna create it with some range and some new range, which I'm gonna call some other range. And this is 10 to 11, and this starts at 11 and ends at 12. So this, I expect it to fail. Well, to be a failure. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Also, I think it's worth checking. Well, we are doing it here, but it doesn't really matter. I want to make sure that the append is actually checking that we're appending at the last position.
Okay.
No, okay, it's fine because it's called append anyway. So I think this test is enough to check. And
I mean, we have the last method, so you could actually test it, but
yeah, it's
let's
alright.
try to understand the
Whatever.
sorting.
I think we can test.
We are a bit over time.
Yeah, we can do a test for the sorting, and then I think we can probably call this a day. Maybe I'll actually switch the implementation in the UI with this, but not much more offline. Aurelio is asking what is nested for. Yes, I will explain it in a second. Let me name this should sort ranges when updating. Well, actually, this doesn't even need to be in sorting. It can be a part of updating, but if order changed. Okay. Okay, and I'll just put it here. And we also need to do the same thing in initialization. Should sort ranges when creating
creating a new
time range
schedule.
Okay, so very briefly, and I want this to go red because it's to-dos, it's fine. So very briefly, what is nested? Nested is a thing you could do in JUnit 4 as well, but it was a bit less nice than it is with JUnit 5. So essentially, you can organize your tests to be grouped logically. And group logically, it's this. You see, we have a group that is called initialization, a group that is called appending, a group that is called updating, and a group that is called can append another range. If we didn't have the nested here, they would all be at the same level, and it would be more complicated to see things that are not passing. Why I put them nested is because I had more than a handful of tests, and I wanted to keep them organized and easier to see when things are not working. It's not mandatory. It's just nice, and it helps a
nice
lot
to
in
have.
figuring out when things go wrong, and also when things are right. Just keeps things organized better, both in the IntelliJ UI and also in the HTML report, which is, you see, you can also see it here. Where was it? It shows you the group here, and obviously there's only two that have failed, but that's fine. Okay, so with that said, an important caveat is for nested to work, you need to use inner classes, which is essentially explicitly saying that this is not a static inner class. I don't know if you remember from the days of old of Android, where when things would just fail, well, you would, when we were doing Java, if you created an inner class, internally it keeps a reference to the parent. So if you use that inner class as a listener or something that survives the parent life cycle, then it could fuck up. And in Kotlin, by default, inner classes are static, so they don't have a reference to the parent. In this case, though, the nested rule, the nested annotation requires you to use a non-static class because it needs a reference to the parent somewhere to be able to understand the actual grouping.
To do that.
So in Kotlin, you express that with the inner keyword. But I like it that in Kotlin it's opt-in rather than a silent thing that always happens to you and screws you over, and it's like, oh, I have a memory leak, but I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have another example like the open keyword, right?
Yeah.
When you want to actually extend something, you have to tell the compiler, kind of know what I'm doing, please.
Maybe.
Please don't code shaming me, maybe. But yeah, it's better if it's explicit.
So I'm gonna rename this for this test because I need to have more than two. So I'll have range 1, range 2, range 3, and I will need to sort them somewhat. But I have range 1, range 2, range 3. Okay, so now we sort them as like 10 to 11, 12 to 13, and 14 to 15, because the idea is that I want to replace range number 2 with something that starts at 16, and I want it to be at the end. So I want to make sure that they're actually sorted correctly. So I can do schedule dot update range, and I pass range 2, and range 2 dot copy, and I will do range 2 dot from plus, actually no, it's probably easier to do a new one. Let's say range 4 or new range, actually. Okay, to be consistent with the rest, new range, and I will need to create it. I'm just gonna duplicate this and call it new range, and this starts at 4 and it ends at 5, whatever, doesn't matter. And then I need to do assert that, actually assert all, because I want to make sure that they are all still in the right order. So I need to do assert that
So first one,
schedule of 0. Oh, I also need to check the size, but I can do it easily. Assert that schedule dot has size 3.
3.
Assert that schedule dot 0 is equal to range 1.
Range 1.
So that hasn't changed. We need to make sure that the second item is now the third one.
New.
Because the one we put should be at the end.
Ah, I see. Nice.
So this would be dot last. Which is more, I think it makes it clear that it's intentional that is the last one now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Instead of looking like, oh, someone copy pasted it wrong or something.
Well, that makes sense. Readability.
Yeah.
Come on. Why
no. This is fine. This is updating.
Why are you failing?
This is updating.
Why are you failing?
This is the one. This is the one. There's another one that I have created, which is to make sure.
Also not implemented.
Yeah, it's just not implemented. But that's fine. Essentially,
that's expected, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. We can just do the same thing, but instead of adding a new one, we just check.
Appending.
Yeah, we don't need to do that, and we don't need this, and we just need to make sure that we are actually putting them in a different order, essentially.
Yeah.
So we can do this. Maybe let's do 3, 1, 2.
3, 2, 1. 3, 1, 2. Okay.
Something like that. And then I want to make sure that the 0 is range 1. 1 is range 2, and 2 is range 3. Okay, does it pass? It passes. Great. Okay. I think there's only one. Well, there's 2 things left, but I will do them myself after the streaming is done, which is adding. I will create the signatures though. One is the public function, which is delete. So remove range. And this removes an item, and this is a to-do. And then also we need another one of these, which is
can be removed.
Well, can
remove
ranges. And this is just sizes more than one.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the implementation of this is trivial. The tests for this are going to be trivial. The implementation for this is also going to be trivial. It's going to be similar to update. Well, actually.
Just going to extract.
This is the implementation, to be honest. No, this is range and range. Okay. Yeah, this is fine.
But you also need to check. Do you want to check? No?
We don't need to, because we are removing an item, and we are sure that the items are actually sorted already. And if you remove one in a sorted list, the list is still sorted, just shorter.
Sorted.
There's one more thing that we need to do, which is this. When we remove things, we need to make sure
that they are actually in the list, or the list is not empty. Well, they shouldn't be empty, right?
We need to check that remove ranges. Yeah, there needs to be at least one range in the schedule. That's fine, but that's fine.
Can actually probably also improve on 48. I mean,
what do you mean?
Ranges.
But this is a different thing. Because this one can, like the fact that this one and this one are the same is kind of
same.
It's a side effect of the rules that we have defined, but they're not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Semantically are different.
Yeah, in fact, I've just tweaked the thing to, like, they're similar messages, but they're not the same, because this one is saying we can remove, and this one is saying there is at least one item, and they're not exactly the same, because this one is like, the condition we have here is size is greater than 1, not greater or equals to 1. They're different things.
Yeah, makes
One
sense.
is not empty, the other one is size is greater than 1. And I think that's enough for today.
Cool. Yeah, that's a lot of code.
I will finish up the stuff after we're done, and push it, and you should have it in your UI very soon. And then we'll see you all on Wednesday. We have our super anticipated guest, Florina.
Super duper.
And
Yes,
I'm so excited at the idea of having someone explain to me data
can
store
wait.
and showing us how to do it properly. And you know, I'm very happy that Florina is going to be with us, and I hope that you will all tune in for that, because it's going to be a great episode. If anything, because Florina is there. Like, everything else can suck, but she's there, so that's great in and by itself.
Yes. I mean, I can wait. I mean, I'm just gonna sit here and just wait and see the shared preferences just go outside the window, and fancy types and proto buffer things coming in, explained by the people that actually wrote it. So that's I can wait.
We can safely say we will do data store with the data store professionals.
Yes, the domain expert, that kind of stuff. Domain expert, my friend. So yeah,
okay,
super happy.
Wrap it up for today. Go, Ivan.
Again, everybody, please. Happy to entertain you, but remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. This is very important for us. We are unfortunately 60% of you are not subscribed, so that's something that we need to fix.
Well, that you need to fix.
Well, I'm gonna try with all my energy.
I mean,
fix.
you the viewer, not you, Ivan. You people that are watching this, you need to fix this.
So if you like, please subscribe. We are gonna keep posting on YouTube. After a couple of days, every video is gonna be out at 5 p.m. so everybody can enjoy.
It's the same.
VOD is gonna be
the same time we do the live on Sunday. Is the same time for Sunday. Everyone. And on top of this, if because Ivan is talking about YouTube, I'll talk about Twitch. Again, as a reminder, if you have Amazon Prime and you're watching this, we would very much appreciate if you could use your free Prime subscription to help us out. We will eventually get the money from Twitch, I guess. We haven't yet, even though it's been a month at this point. But when we do, we will buy some merch and we will raffle it out, and we'll also try to hire a designer to make nicer designs than what I have so far done. So thank you in advance, and sorry for repeating that all the time.
The onboarding is almost over, so after the onboarding we don't have any other UI.
So, very much that.
Yeah,
and
but jokes aside, thank you for the support.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We hope you enjoyed today's atypical, not very composy, but very TDD episode. We like to mix it up every now and then. And we have some ideas on how to evolve the format in the future. And we hope to be able to bring you some exciting news and changes at some point soon. So stay tuned. Keep watching us, keep us company. We really, really enjoy pairing and interacting with you folks while we do. So thank you for that. And with that, Bye.
Ciao, ciao.